Miami, 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 Miami. It feel like Miami.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even think they deserve a welcome. They don't. I'm here with Christian Hernandez. They don't deserve shit. Eric the Great subscribed to Tier 1. Said, this team makes me sad. We got J Jock subscribing at Tier 1. Said, I just want it to end. It used to be that after Heat wins, people would subscribe out of happiness. And now they're just subscribing like, I hate this.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, you know what might be good, honestly? Like, everybody should contribute in chat their feelings right now, and you should just read it all out loud.
Let's let this event session. It's
chronicled, so because they literally said before the game that they were treating it like a playoff game. So yeah, Johnny, let's see. What are the comments?
Slooby Doo says, "Woohoo! Season's over. Time for a rebuild." Name is Zay says, 5 games left. By the way, laugh my fucking ass off. Eric the Great just says pain in all capital letters. Duradell says so much pain. Mo Samba, it's a funny name, wants to look toward the future. Everyone's mad. No one's happy. Name is Zay. Say, I don't have any emotion. I don't have any either. And imagine Brass, Alf, Tiff, and Ryan Cortez who are in the building. I think Tiff is the biggest loser today because Max just got kicked out of the rotation. At least Alf can hang his hat on Duncan Robinson minutes.
I feel like this game gave me more questions than answers because, they're treating this like a playoff game. Then all of a sudden, Max, barely plays.
Up in the rotation. Foul trouble. Duncan playing well. You know what?
I mean, but I guess that's what Spo does. He rides that hot hand. I feel like that's all he did with Duncan tonight.
Listen, what a great day to unveil a sponsor. Miami Gaming Parties. These fine people who, we're going to unveil a more proper sponsorship rollout, but, that we're going to be partnering with them, and they host video game tournaments for you, your friends, your kids, birthday parties, whatever. Check them out at miamigamingparties.com. We're going to have a full sponsorship rollout for what a game for them to get on board. Shout out to Miami Gaming Parties. We love you, and I'm sorry
that sounds great.
I'm sorry that this
what games do they provide, Gianni?
They provide lots of games, and we're gonna get into that when they provide me an ad read tomorrow. Thank you for putting me on the spot. But I talked to them today. Listen. Colin is a very fine young man, and a Gulliver alum, just like you, Christian.
Oh God. All right.
Ray Allen's also working at Gulliver. Can he come play for the Heat? Because they don't have any shooting apparently outside of 1 or 2 guys a night.
It's true. They do have that beautiful water polo campus, though.
You have a water? Wow. Listen.
Yeah, no, I'm bitter about it because they built it right after I left, so I never even get to enjoy it. It's beautiful, though.
Chat's just wanting to draft Brandon Miller. I don't know who that is. I assume he's good.
Which sport? Oh yeah, this is basketball.
We need Moose.
Yeah, right. I'm not the draft guy.
Carteliana is asking, why is Oladipo playing?
I mean, exactly. How many minutes did Duncan play tonight?
A lot. Probably.
He played a ton of minutes.
Did he play more than Jimmy?
Tonight like a playoff game. Everybody, I guess, they were missing Kyle. But how does, especially on a night that Gabe was playing so well, how does Kyle being missing throw the rest of the whatever they're doing into the blender, in a game that they're treating like a playoff game? Why is Duncan getting so many minutes? I don't get it.
Hooping.
So the whole season when he was just chill. I mean, dude, that he really has got the best gig in history.
He just
if they really he just chills during the regular season and doesn't run all those miles that they have to do throughout the season, and then he just decides to start playing 30 minutes a game in the playoffs.
Duncan played 28 tonight. Oladipo played 19. I think wild. Duncan's minutes really came from kind of the backup guard and Max, right? That's really where that came. But Christian, I mean, I don't know there's not so much to talk about tonight that we haven't said a million times. Their offense, Jimmy, by the way, clearly not healthy. I think he played because they treated it like a playoff game, and he had some sort of neck injury, and he did not look assertive. He did not look for a shot at the rim. Bam has been out of sorts for a long time. I don't even know what to say about that. I guess you could say nice things about Cody Zeller, whatever.
He plays really hard.
Listen, he's scrappy. He has motor.
Hard grit,
effort. But Christian, there's not much to say. I think the only thing that you could say positively is, okay, Zeller gives you nice minutes, and Duncan made them look a little bit alive for a period of time. And other than that, frankly, there's nothing positive to say. I guess Gabe had a nice game, right?
He carried the team through certain points, especially like in the third quarter. He was definitely one of the few shining spots. It's funny, Johnny. I said to myself multiple times at different points during the game that the way that Jimmy looked, just like it looked like he was playing through something that was clearly bothering him. And it's like,
not an excuse, because as far as I'm concerned, Jalen Brunson didn't play the fourth quarter, and Julius Randle didn't play the second half. So, even if you're not healthy, like, you gotta get out there. And, New York, I thought up until that run that they gave up in the fourth quarter, I thought they played a really good game considering, their limitations. And I'm like, if they win this game even without Randle, I still think it's a good road win. New York, by the way, a team that's better on the road than at home this season. They're one of two teams. Them and the Kings are the only two teams in the league that are better home, and they're better on the road than at home. Chris, they even survived the non-Jimmy Bam minutes. You know what I mean? So then their best players come on the floor. You have a bunch of stupid ass turnovers. Jimmy, that one that Jimmy had on the fast break, that I'm like, man, I'm glad you're hurt, because if not, that's so fucking inexcusable.
It was the way that he was kind of like haphazardly attacking on offense, not really initiating contact like he usually does. It's like it kind of felt like he was shying away from aggravating something, which makes sense. Why he didn't play last night.
They had Josh Hart defending him, and to me, that's barbecue chicken most nights for a guy like Jimmy. And not that Josh Hart's a bad defender, but he's certainly smaller than Jimmy, and he's not as strong. And that's just kind of the matchup that he feasts on.
There's very few players in the league that can handle Jimmy one-on-one, I would say.
And they had him, and Jimmy could not make them pay. And listen, Barrett did not have a great game. Quickly's really the guy that absolutely killed them. Brunson had an okay game, and he didn't play the fourth quarter. I know that he's dealing with injury as well. And Randall, I believe he was held to 3 points before he went out in the first half. Gave up layup after dunk after turnover after dunk after, you know what I mean? And it's like, at some point, and I don't like making these post games like about things that aren't just the game, but I just feel like today locked them into the play-in. I believe Brooklyn won. They were up pretty convincingly with like seconds left. Today feels like they got locked into the play-in. There are 5 games left. A lot of them being good teams, fighting for playoff positioning. I know they have a matchup with the Sixers coming up. They have the Mavs on Saturday. Christian, I don't know, man. It just feels like you're locked into 6 through 9 and 7 through 9, right?
Yeah, and that's why I'm wondering now. It's like, do you consider just sitting Jimmy if he's really hurt? Like, Kyle is clearly also dealing with something. Do you consider just sitting these guys out? Because, and like they showed tonight, like they're still a pretty deep team. They can go to 7 guys, like that can still more or less get an equivalent effect, which is, part of the issue, I think, with this team. It's that their ceiling is just not very high. And I think that really has to do with just not having a real, like, true number one offensive talent, because like Jimmy can be that, but he doesn't do it in the regular season. Like, he'll only bring that out in the playoffs. Really.
He'll do it in spurts.
And sometimes, if it's a big game or against a rival or something, but you can't really count on that in the regular season. And I get it. Maybe he's learned that it's best for him to conserve as much as possible leading into the playoffs. And we've seen the results of him kind of doing that historically. So it's hard to argue with it.
So, and to your point, I mean, Jimmy even said, during the All-Star break when he was in Argentina, they said, Jimmy, when are you going to start trying? And he goes, I'll try after All-Star break. Like, he knows, like, he's preserving his body. Like, he takes care of himself, and he's playing well into his 30s. Like, and I think he's played excellent kind of since then. But
yeah, so right now the Heat are a game and a half behind the Nets for the 6th seed.
Essentially 2 games because they don't have the tiebreaker.
Correct, yeah. So let's just round it off and say 2 games.
With 5 games left.
Yeah. So they probably won't do it yet because it's as long as the 6 is still attainable, they will probably try to get it to escape the play-in because they should be afraid of getting thrown into a play-in.
Would you want to play Toronto?
I don't want to play Toronto. I don't want to play Chicago. Like,
what happened to us?
I know. It's not great.
What happened to us?
I'm fine with playing the Hawks if it,
kind of. But
I don't think it can. We would no. It's how do the games go again? It's 7-8 to lock in the 7.
Yeah, 7-8 to lock in. Yeah, and then 8-9, and then 8 plus the winner of 9-10 to lock in 8.
Okay, right.
So,
So right now they would be playing the Hawks in the first game.
They'd be playing Atlanta, and then and you know what? It sucks to say this because at this point, I think even in the most, I mean, there were some people earlier in the season like this team stinks and they're not going to make the playoffs, and I think a lot of people were like, that's stupid. I said that's stupid, right? And those are the most doomer of them out there, and really, what happened with this team is everybody's worst nightmares come to life. And I think tonight is a good example of that. Eric the Great even says this was a big game, though. Jimmy was hurt. But still, it's like, Bam, I have no idea what's going on with him. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if in the fucking offseason he has some sort of hand surgery or some shit. I don't know. I don't even know if the tendonitis in the knee is bugging him again. We haven't talked about that, but that was certainly something that's been going on. And I don't know. I'm just Christian, I'm just trying to find answers. You know what I mean? Like, I just want answers because none of this makes sense.
I know it's hard, but I think the kind of cool thing about this season is that league-wide, I feel like we've seen unprecedented parity, which is interesting. So it's hard to get a gauge on things. I think because there's so many teams that have now become, I guess, borderline contenders that we wouldn't have thought that maybe even just last year. Like, you see what the Kings are doing out west. The Knicks
Cleveland
look like a much more serious team this season. It's hard to say though.
Slooby just said Ethan said there are off-court issues that the team is dealing with, which will come out soon.
Awesome. Whatever that means.
Is that a Jimmy? Is Jimmy pissing people off? What, Tyler? God knows.
At this point, though, it's like, can you but I don't know. That doesn't explain how Jimmy's playing.
But they said that last year too, and then Ethan was saying that last year too, and then Jimmy almost tried to kill Spo. In the middle of what was it against the Warriors?
Yeah.
Were you there that day?
No, I was not. I don't think.
What a game to miss.
I know, right?
Well, they got their ass kicked, so I guess probably good. But do I need to go sage the arena? Is it time? Are they even worth it? Chat, are they even worth it?
Are they worth it? I think is a great question. Yeah, can we make a poll?
I literally was gonna do that.
Perfect. Yeah, I would like to see the answer
chat
to that question. Are they worth it? Because I don't know.
Are the Heat worth saging the arena? And listen, this is a very scientific. How do I spell saging? SAGIN. No, is there an EING? That doesn't look good.
I don't think it's kosher to write the E and the I.
Yeah, how do I spell?
Do you knock the E off?
Yeah, but then it looks
That
weird.
would be saging, right?
I guess that just doesn't. No, because then it says misspelled.
Well,
Okay, SAGING. Yeah, I guess that's what Google says.
right?
Okay, yeah. Listen, we figured this out together, chat. Listen,
Thank God for Google.
In my defense, that was a hard one. Normally they're not hard ones, but that was a hard one. Yeah, chat says I may be too late here, but it's on the poll. Are the Heat worth saging? Of course, I typo in the thing anyway, but whatever. You guys get the point. Chris, I don't know, man. They're just they go down 8 points early in the game, and they suddenly look alive, right? They respond with energy, with defense, right? They're forcing turnovers, which they hadn't been able to do the last couple games. And I think a lot of the reasons for their losses has been like, okay, their bread and butter is forcing turnovers, and Toronto is a team that turns the ball over the least in the league, and they just got nothing out of that. And then against the Nets, they weren't able to get them out in transition either. I don't, tonight, early they were playing the passing lanes. And I, by the way, thought Duncan played very good defense all night.
He looked like a man possessed at points. Like, I was like, I'm watching this, like, where the fuck has this been the whole time? Like, have you been able to, like, you had a serious injury and now you're healthy, and now that you look like this because I've never seen you look like this on defense. Like he caught some guys off guard, like visibly on the Knicks.
Oh yeah, dude.
They were not expecting him to
stay in front of
body up the way he did. Like, super impressive, and I honestly hope he can continue that because he will get minutes.
He won
if
minutes
he plays
for that.
Defense like that.
More than the shooting, he won minutes for that.
Right?
Knowing Spo is a crazy person. I don't know, man. Again, he's the lone thing that made me happy tonight. Also, because I like him, and I think that, in pregame we were talking. If they have a miracle on offense, it probably starts with him. Like,
sure.
He and Tyler, I think, are the guys that need to just go Nova, because I think you could trust Jimmy to do it, if he's healthy and when it counts, and then everybody else play off of it. I mean, Duncan still was demanding a double team coming off picks today.
Yeah. Johnny, let me read you a stat line. 21 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists. What does that stat line sound like to you?
21 points, 10 rebounds.
No, 21 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, and 1 steal.
What is that, a Giannis stat line?
Is that a Giannis stat line?
Yeah.
That was both Jimmy and Bam combined tonight.
That's a bad Giannis game, too.
Yeah, and that's a poor Giannis game.
A poor Giannis scoring night. That was it? Scoring?
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, no, 1 steal and no blocks between the both of them. Like, that's a giant red flag.
That's a huge red flag, because that's what they do.
Yep.
Did Duncan have more steals than them?
Duncan did. I mean, another big red flag. Only 5 steals amongst the whole team, with Gabe being the only one with 2.
And most of those, I imagine, were in that first quarter.
Yeah.
When they were.
Yeah, that's when the team looked good at its best. Yeah.
That's it. And they just haven't been able to put 4 quarters of ball together, man. They just don't. They don't have it. And you have nights where they look good, and you're like, they can beat anybody. And then you have other nights like tonight where, they just absolutely combust. And I think we see the combustion so much more often than anything else. And I don't know what to say anymore, man. I don't know what to say. I'm just like, I kind of threw. I don't even have a reaction. What's up, Tiff? We got Tiff in chat. Tiff, what's the vibe in the arena? What are they saying?
Don't tell me the vibe. I don't want to know.
I want to know the vibe, Tiff. Tell me. Did they come out? Because the last time Tiff went to New York to cover a game, those motherfuckers didn't answer questions. Tiff, hold them accountable. You and Alex Toledo have to hold these people accountable. If not you, then who? We await her. We await her answers from inside Madison Square Garden. Also, did it smell like urine? I hear that arena smells like pee.
It's stinky.
I hear it's. Have you been? It looks very stinky.
I don't actually.
Tiff's like, I'm waiting for the train home. Did they not come out to talk?
I don't think I've actually been to MSG. Funny enough.
I've walked by it. I have no interest in going.
Yeah, I've walked by it, but
Yeah, man, it's been quite the year for them, and I think that they, today was really kind of emblematic of kind of a lot of their issues. And again,
I hate to say it though, but they have a pretty fun looking team. Like,
who, the Knicks?
even though the Knicks. Like, I'm not a big fan of RJ Barrett. I don't know. I'm still
out on him.
Still a little bit out on him. Well, he's obviously looked better this season, but fucking Emmanuel Quickly is a fucking beast.
He's
man.
so fast. He's better than Maxey.
Like, I feel like the way they play is a little comparable, but I don't know, man. Like, Quickly is like a hell of a shooter. Like, he made some incredible passes tonight. Like,
he plays hard on defense,
and he does play hard on defense. Like,
I like him more than Maxey. I saw in our chat. I know it was Moose lamenting because Moose really wanted Quickly the year that they drafted Precious.
Yeah. No, and then Quentin Grimes also had a huge game tonight. I mean, he just made a ton of plays,
and he's been very good for them this season.
Yeah, like, they're getting contributions from these guys, and you wonder how the Heat can find some, guys in anywhere, undrafted free agents, like trades, like, try to get some fresh bodies in here to kind of emulate the gains that some of these other teams in the East have gotten.
That's what they used to do. They invented that.
I know. It's sad to see. We're in dire straits right now. That's not right.
Dire straits.
Dire straits.
It's a late night. We had to watch whatever that was. And listen, I mean, now they have to rebound. They have Dallas. They have Dallas coming up on Saturday, who, again, the Mavs are playing for a lot. The West seeding is so mucky. Luka's obviously playing for...
Are they losing again tonight?
So I believe they're playing Philadelphia. I don't know that score.
They lost to Philadelphia.
That's unfortunate for my Philly hate. Just a big L for me tonight. The Knicks are happy. Tiff is like, I hate seeing Knicks fans happy. Me too.
I also hate that. Like, I've been at Heat home losses against the Knicks, and it's the worst.
I was there. Well, they didn't lose, but there are so many Knicks fans.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank God we won that game. Yeah.
The last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, I want to talk about the broadcast, and I want to talk about Eric Reed, Christian. Eric Reed really, really pivoted at the end when it appeared that they were going to lose. I'm sorry, chat's something funny. Eric Reed is like, the Knicks have lost. The Knicks have not won a playoff series. They've only won one playoff series in the last 20 years, Crotty. And he just kept reminding the audience that, oh my, Crotty, remember, this could be their first year winning a playoff series. I'm like, oh my God. Eric is just really just drilling that home. And at the very end, he's like, this is the first time New York has won multiple games against Miami in a season series since, you guessed it, the 1 year they won a playoff series in 20 years. And I'm like, Eric Reed just really...
I love it. He's team petty deep down. Just like we all are.
He's just truly one of us. I love Eric for that. Although Eric did call Chris Rock the Rock today.
I mean,
I didn't know
he's the Rock in some circles.
He's
not my Rock, but he might be the Rock for someone else.
Hashtag not my Rock. Eric Reed seemed oddly really excited when Chris. Oh my, the Rock, and I'm like, what? Who's that?
I am a big fan of your eerie voice.
Who's that? Who's that excited to see Chris Rock? Not Jada.
Also, did nobody notice that Adam Sandler was right next to him on screen?
They were like, "Oh, that's Ben Stiller, Crotty. He's funny. Remember Meet the Parents?"
Wait, or was it Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller was there.
I always confused them.
I think Adam was there too, but I know that they kind of showed Ben Stiller and
no, it was Ben Stiller.
That unfunny guy from 30 Rock, who I forget his name.
Tracy
Morgan.
Oh,
Tracy Morgan.
You think Tracy Morgan's not funny?
I think he's unfunny.
That's okay. That wouldn't be your worst opinion. Anyway,
We take those. New York used to have a who's. The most famous people are Laker fans. They're not Knicks fans. Knicks fans have like fucking the remnants of the '90s on their.
No, yeah, we just have intimate knowledge of the Knicks fans and how they can be.
But in terms of celebrity, like Ben Stiller's not. Is Ben Stiller like an A1 movie star? Still.
Not like an A1 movie star, but I think he does like a fair amount of like producing and directing now. So it's like, that's what a lot of them do. They find ways to grow their influence in other ways, even if they're not acting so much. Like
Tiff is like Zoolander. Zoolander was like in the 90s. Like, a long time ago.
I feel like he's still been doing movies like somewhat recently.
They're not good
right?
movies. No one's.
I'm not saying they're good movies, Gianni.
He's not driving folks to the theaters. He's just cashing checks. Listen, I love Meet the Parents. I think Meet the Parents is like one of the greatest films ever. It's airtight.
Okay, gun to your head. Adam Sandler or Ben Stiller?
Oh, Ben Stiller, because Meet the Parents is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Adam Sandler's not funny. And I don't like Uncut Gems. I feel like it's Celtic propaganda. I know how that ended, and it ended with the Heat holding a trophy. And I don't like that. It's just too Celtic. Fuck the Celtics. Fuck Kevin Garnett.
For those reasons alone, I respect your opinion.
Tiff is like, you can milk a cat, which is an A+ reference. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Chris and I leave you. Thank you guys for tuning in always to what we do, and it means a lot to us, especially on shit nights like these. We got you on Saturday for hangover time, and just stay tuned. We still have you. We got you covered. Chat's now quoting Meet the Parents. This is now the greatest podcast ever. It's always great, man. I love that movie. It's truly that, and My Cousin Vinny are like the two movies that I always laugh at. And I'll always stop on the television. Like if it's on FX. Do you have a movie that's like that?
Oh, Wedding Crashers for me, for sure.
Oh, that's another great one.
Well, let's see, like old school, I'll always stop on like at whatever point because it's just kind of chaos throughout. But yeah, just a bunch. Like I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to movies. I'm not so much of a critic.
You're not. We're more basketball critics than.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I'm super interested to see what Spo does the rest of the season because I feel like he should just sit some guys and just submit to the idea of being in the play-in and pray to God because we all must pray.
We all must pray. Shout out to the audience. Shout out to everybody that's kind of supporting us. Miami Gaming Parties. Check them out. MiamiGamingParties.com. We'll have a proper rollout for them on Saturday. And I know that Tiff met a fan of ours, Franklin Saint, at the game today. Franklin, I talked to Tiff and they chatted. He was a young man.
Shout out to you, Franklin.
Shout out to Franklin. Shout out to anybody who comes up to us at games. That's cool.
Yeah, it's always a cool experience, and it's a little weird. Always a little weird, just because it's like
I like it. I want people to do that. Like I was approached at a coffee shop the other day. I was at All Day MIA in downtown. Goated coffee. If you haven't been, All Day is goated. I know it's Jimmy Butler approved.
Well, that's how you know that.
No, it's Jimmy approved, and I've been going for a long time, and they're goated. Their food's great too. But yeah, shout out to everybody, and we'll see you all on Saturday.